Hi everyone, my name is Ellen Wisner. I'm from the Department of Biological Sciences. And today what I'm going to be talking to you guys about is a project that I did in conjunction with the Office of Assessment about using assessment to help students link the course content to their own lives. So just a little bit of information about the class that I worked on. It's General Biology 1, one of the first classes a biology student takes within the biology major. Really diverse set of students in all ways. It's a really large class, but it's broken into multiple sections of about 74 students per class, and it is typically taught face-to-face, although I worked on this assessment for an online class. So all of the work that I'll describe today was done as a part of a Scholarship of Assessment grant that I received from the Office of Assessment called Increasing Course Structure and Alignment in General Biology 1. And as a part of this grant process, I worked with one of the members of the Office of Assessment, Dr. Karen Singer-Freeman, and it was through discussions with her that I got sort of interested in the one part of my project that I'm going to speak with you today about, which is how can I use assessment to help students realize how what they're learning in class relates to their actual lives. And that's what I'm going to focus on at first, is showing you how I got from my original grant title here about course structure to linking assessment to their lives. So I first got interested in this idea of class structure because of articles I have read about this highly structured class. So first off, what is this? Essentially it's where there's enough assignments and structures so that students know exactly what to do before class. They know what they're supposed to do in class, after class. They have practice exams, and so they know exactly what to then expect on the exam. So you really set them up for success. Some key elements is you do have to have graded preparatory assignments. A lot of in-class engagement. For it to be considered highly structured, they consider that about 40% of time where students are interacting and discussing in class, and then some sort of graded practice exams. And so the why I became interested in this is there's been research done on this, and it increases performance of all students. It also helps to reduce the achievement gap between underrepresented groups in science. And then it is shown to increase a sense of community within your class. So I wanted these things in my class. I have two citations here, and at the end I'll give you the references for those if you want to look them up. So the goals of my project were about alignment. So to make sure that my learning objectives lined up with the in-class activities and the assessment. I already had pre-class activities, so to make sure just everything lined up very well with itself, including the assessment. And then I didn't yet have practice exams, and so I wanted to help build those and make sure they were also aligned. And so it was in this discussion with Dr. Singer-Freeman from the Office of Assessment where one of the things that I knew that I wanted to test students on, but I wasn't really doing, was testing them on if they could see the connections between what they were learning in their class and their lives, if they could tell me why it was important. So in other words, I sort of was feeling that many students couldn't see the forest for the trees. And so what I mean is they were so bogged down in all the details and memorizing examples that they couldn't figure out why it was important. They weren't stopping to think about how it could relate to their own lives. So let me show you an example of one of these assessments. Now, before I go through this, we set this up so that they would first take practice exams. They had a weekly practice exam that was sort of like this. And then they would see similar questions on the exam that were structured in the same way. It wouldn't be the same topic, but the structure would be the same. Okay, so they had to get a lot of practice with this in order to get better at it. And so if you look down at the rubric at the bottom, you can see the general setup. So there was always first an easier question that just saw, like, did they understand the concept? So maybe they had to define something or explain in their own words a topic. Then the second part, they had to show me how they understood how what they had learned linked to one of the major goals of the course. And then the last part, they had to tell me just an example, like a real world example of why what they were learning really mattered. So overall, what I learned is that students really do need help making these connections between course content and their lives. And the practice test really seemed to help. They did get better over time at these. The other thing that I learned is that the wording is really important. So when you design these questions, they have to be specific enough so the students know what you're looking for. So here are those references on course structure if you're interested. And then last, so if you want more information on how you could work with the Office of Assessment, which I highly recommend, there's their website, and you're also free to reach out to me via email if you have any questions. So thank you very much. Bye.